Okay. Um, since Solomon is in, then I think okay. Like 5 people are already in. That's fine. Now let's start busy. Let's get busy. I was trying to explain something, and I found it difficult in sharing the screen. So that was the reason why I had to switch my browser to Google Chrome. That was why I was able to now share the screen. Now, before we begin, we are going to be very brief, but I want us to understand this. You guys are very new. Most of you are very new in the academy or very new to TBC. Now, before you came into TBC, most people told you that if you come into the TBC, there is a bank, and then that bank that is going to give us $500 out of TBC, sorry, $500 every week. You know, now these things are true. It was already put by the admin on the blog that yes, the banks will be coming in, and while this process was actually being prepared, something happened. Now, the elites saw that cryptocurrencies were beginning to overthrow their system. Now, since cryptocurrencies were beginning to overthrow their systems, they decided to devise means. Some of the means that they devised to shut down cryptocurrency, if you can recall, um, last year December, if you can recall, as at last year December, Bitcoin rose to about 19,800. Now, since it rose to that amount, the elites decided to bring it down. They decided to shut it down so that it won't be possible for it to rise so high again. Now, one of the things that they did was this. All these exchangers that were around, they started taxing exchangers. They started taxing them so much that the amount they were taxing them was so high, they were not able to keep up again. Now, one of those things was that they made sure that they were able to keep it under control. As long as those exchangers are paying tax for every cryptocurrency transactions that they do, that means they are still accountable to the government. Any amount of transactions that goes within a certain limit, they will have to audit the accounts of that particular exchanger. Now, when that kind of thing happens, what do you think would happen? What would happen is that everything now becomes under their control. Another thing they did was that banks that used to exist, they told banks that if we catch any of your clients or any of your customers working with cryptocurrencies, that is, any of your employees working with cryptocurrencies, they were going to sack them. These were the measures that they put in place. And after they had put those measures in place, what do you think happened? They were able to put a control in the coins that are found in the public market, which is the coin market cap. Now, before I continue, I want us to understand this. I want us to understand this particular statement very well. This particular statement, because this is the statement that is on this ground that we're going to spring up in the master's class. So please, if you had this opinion or this mindset that a bank will come in or a bank will come in, I want you to zero your mind on that system for another 2 years. Because for another 2 years, what is going to happen is we're going to run a system called the cash flow system. And it is through this cash flow system that we are now going to grow. And then if there is any bank that will come in, fine. But you see, by the time we've grown to that level, we may not really need the bank again. So let's quickly rush through this article. This article is not so much, but it is timely. I want us to listen very well. I'm going to explain it as we're reading. Now, pay attention, please. Every time someone asks when the bank or fiat exchange, when the bank or fiat exchange will start, send them this article. Now, are you anxious for the bank to start exchanging $500 a week? Or, okay, are you anxious for the bank to start exchanging $500 a week of your TBC into fiat currency using an ATM card? Why are you so anxious? Why do you keep asking that question over and over again? Because that's exactly what so many of us are doing. Well, I don't know how many of us are still doing it, but I believe most of us used to do it. And if you're in that category of saying, when will the bank come in? Please, I want you to understand that for another 2 years from now, Forget anything that has to do with the bank. The bank issue will be kept aside for a while until you are able to understand the system of cash flow and then be a benefactor of a cash flow system or the cash flow system that the admin has put in place. Now, let me continue. Obviously, that question really irritates the leaders that are inside, that irritates the leaders inside the TBC community. Why does it irritate them? Because that situation is completely outside their control. It's not in the control of me to make the banks come in. Neither is it in the control of anyone within the TBC community to make the bank come in. It is a factor of the admin and the upper echelons. That is the bank. Now, listen to these informations I'm passing across. These informations are very, very cardinal in understanding what TBC is as an introductory member. Now, all they can say is it will get here when it gets here, and to go to this blog and to stay what up to date or updated. Now, so let me tell you what needs to happen. Listen to this. So let me tell you what needs to happen before the banks can come in and start accepting our TBC coins. I want us to pay attention. How many of us are listening? 4 of us are listening. Okay. Now, let me continue. The first thing that has to happen before these banks would accept our TBC coin, the first thing is what? First and foremost, TBC needs to be a strong and a stable currency and remains so. How can TBC become a strong and stable currency? I want us to pay attention. TBC can only become a strong and stable currency when we have grown to 1 billion verified members. Now, when we're 1 billion verified members, we have become a strong and a stable currency. Strong in what way? Our numbers. That is strong. Stable in what way? We are no more increasing in value. We are now going to be a stable currency like gold. That is now when you can say a bank would come in. And trust me, between now and then, several things would have taken place. You would agree with me on that. And then now exactly, TBC would be a strong and stable currency and remain so in order for the banks to do any form of business with us. So those banks now are against us. They don't like us, and they are calling us a scam because we are not playing by the what? Their own jurisdiction. We are not playing by the establishment rule. The establishments are the people that has already created the system, and the system that breeds and feeds on lack. It breeds and feeds on what? The minds of people. Everything. Have you gone to your bank? Check out your bank. Every day your account is going. You want to make a withdrawal, they charge you commission. Anything you have to do at the end of the month, they are charging you. Is it a system that is a parasitic system? Now, the admin is trying to make you understand that the only way that a bank can come in, and them coming into us now means that they will play on our terms and conditions, not their own terms and conditions. They are not the one that will give the rules. We are the ones that will give the rule. Now, let me continue. If you haven't been paying attention to the technical side of our coin, okay, if you haven't been paying attention, the technical side of our coin crashed, and it has taken a very long time to debug all the cause of that. And clearly, the only real solution to fix that is to migrate to a new blockchain, which we've already done. We've already done that already. So this is just referring to what has taken place last month. Now, we are super close to the beginning of the migration process at this time. As at this time this thing was written, that was when we're close to it, but we have already done our migration. Now, of course, the bank is still, listen to this statement, of course, the bank will be watching us closely during the migration process to see how the new tech holds up. That is how our new coin network is going to function. Now, the question is, which banks are they talking of? Is it the bank that is fighting us or another bank? Let's find out. Let's keep reading. Now, that's why I am taking the necessary time needed to step up the new tech properly before we start migrating. We are doing extensive tests right now on what we have already set up. So far, everything looks good. Second of all is the bank wants to see a strong, well-behaved community surrounding our TBC coin. At this moment, we are just beginning to become reasonable in the community. Before, we were so disorganized, we were so scattered. This one will say this one will say that. But you see, things are beginning to become normal. The community now is becoming stable, and they are beginning to become cool-headed. Now, frankly, we could do a much better job at cleaning our social media's presence. Now, if you go to Facebook, you see that some people used to say many unreasonable things about TBC, but now those things are dying away. Let's continue. Now, I'll be addressing that more. I'll be addressing that more in articles to come. That's the admin's own. Now, just bear in mind that the banks wants to preserve their positive reputation. This is not a small bank, as I have said many times before, and they can interface with any other bank without being under the control of the elites. There are two significant things I want to point out here. One, the bank is not a small bank, it's a very big bank. And the second thing is that what? They can stand side by side with the elites, meaning that these banks are having something so large, bigger than my own eyes can comprehend. Now, let me continue. This is a very special kind of bank because they hold real assets and not just paper like most other banks. Now, this bank has similar values to that of TBC and are actually concerned for humanity. So we hold on. So we do have much work ahead of us to shape us to shape up the TBC community so that the banks will be happy to do business with us. That's to say the banks are already there, they are watching us, and they are going to have some business with us. But the question is when. Recently, the admin has just introduced the concept of cash flow. After they finished with the cash flow system, then probably the banks will come in. And from the admin's remark, he said that the cash flow will last for a minimum of what? 2 years. Now, between now and then, this is your virgin opportunity to become whoever you want to be in the TBC community. If you understand the system of this cash flow, you are able to make millions and millions of money just by understanding this. You may not necessarily have so much TBC coins, but if you understand the process of partnership and cooperation within one another, that is why this system is created. And you are in this academy so that you shall be mentored and mentored properly. So I'll soon be rounding off. Now, so bottom line is that we are months away from starting the fiat exchange. This months away, it's no more months away, it's now years away. Okay. Now, the TBC programmers did not deliver in January as I hoped, and I have made some adjustments in personnel I've made some adjustments in personnel because of the time slipping away. A successful migration is needed before we can engage the banks officially in fiat exchange. Yet, you are filled with so much anxiety on this matter. Now, let's redirect this anxiety towards something within your personal power. What is it within your personal power? Cash flow. What is it within your personal power? Cash flow. You may be oblivious of the understanding of this cash flow now, but please take it one step at a time. That is the reason why you are in this academy. By the time you are through with this academy, you would now start learning the principles of cash flow. You are going to fail. Don't think you are going to succeed. Imagine not succeed, like you will succeed, but you are going to face initial resistance at the first place. It's like a child learning how to walk. The child will fall, and then after a while, the child will learn how to walk. That's the same thing that you're going to go through. But when you've learned it and you've mastered it, nobody will take that skill away from you. Let me finish up. Now, something within your personal power to get you what you want. You want money in your pocket right now. Am I right? I completely understand. But the bank is not an immediate solution for that, is it? No, it's not. So engage our Get Paid Today training in your Kringle Cash. Well, that was when the Kringle Cash system was existing. But now it's a new system that is on, which is the apprentice and the master level, known as what? Cash flow. Engage our leaders on a 24/7 live broadcast. Now, this our live broadcast is an improved, this our academy is an improved system of the live broadcast. There is no much difference. The difference is that you are going to be tied to one lecturer, and the lecturer will mentor you for 1 month. The next one, he will mentor you for another month. The next one, he will mentor you for another month. By the time these 3 lecturers has mentored you, then you will now be prepared to go in for the cash flow. With the help of the website, everything will be made easy. We also have a blog in the website. When you see the blog, you read the blog, it will tell you how to navigate with the academy, the cash flow system and everything. It's not a very difficult system. So please, let's take note of that, okay? Now, let me finish. Engage our 24/7 our leaders 24/7 on the live broadcast and partner up with them so you can get some money in your pocket right now. Your partnership now is with me. You're doing partnership with me. That is the reason why you bring people to the TBC community in our group, and then they come in for the TBC introductory class, the master's class, and the advanced learners. For each of this level that they come into and they get something from me, they will still come back to you to purchase a certain amount of coins. This is the whole concept of cash flow. Your responsibility as an individual is to understand how to bring people to the group. Bringing people to the group, the person registers in the website, passes through the training. By the time the person is graduating, the person must return to you to purchase $100 out of TBC or less than that. For the introductory class on the website, it is $25 you must purchase from the person that referred you, or else you will not get your certificate. Now, let me make you understand. These things are actually money, but the reality of this money has not come to the eyes of so many of us. So many of us still think it is not money, but the truth is it's actually money you are looking at. Don't worry, a number of things will happen. The financial system are going to soon face some challenges between now and another 1, 2, 3 years from now. By the time that happens, the question is, what is going to be the way out? That is when TBC will come to life. So please make efforts and bring people. Let them come to you. When they give you money, you can use it for immediate need. When the time arises for that their own challenge to come up, when the financial system begins to experience this challenge, you will now see the need for working with TBC. So the admin isn't foolish by saying distribute the coins. He's not foolish, okay? Now let me continue. Stay tuned into this blog and become educated on TBC. And most of all, stop believing you can get something from nothing. Please listen to this statement. And above all, that is what the admin is saying. Above all, stop believing you can get nothing from something. Now, stop believing you can get something from nothing. It's impossible for you to get anything in life without making sacrifice. So cultivate this habit. Understand that number one, you must have data. Number two, you must be dedicated. Number three, you must come for classes. Number four, you must bring in people to the community. If you don't do that, what will happen is you won't make gains for yourself. So if you must make gains for yourself, understand these principles and work in it. Even though you will fail, what does it take to succeed? Persistence, knowledge, build your knowledge base. This website, this particular blog is so large. There is so much to know in this blog. There is so much to know. There is so much to know in this blog. If you do not have this habit of reading it for leisure purpose, you may never be very good in learning what you need to learn. Let me round off. TBC does create wealth automatically, but TBC does create wealth automatically, but at this time, extracting any of the wealth takes time and effort. It takes what? Time and effort, meaning that you have to learn to make efforts. Try, keep trying. Keep trying. I'm giving us the introduction of what? Cash flow. The real cash flow has not started. This is the introductory class. Remember that after now, you have only one more class. So I'm giving us an understanding of what you need to start knowing, because the next level is what? Master's class. And that should be next month. Let me now finish up. Go out there and earn money. Earn more than $500 a week in TBC right now. What does it take to actually, if you are able to work with our system in our academy, and you're able to refer 5 people to come into the introductory class and for the master's class, that means those 5 people will come to you. 5 of them will purchase $25 worth of TBC. 25 times 5, how much would that give you? That's about 105. Yes, 25 for $110. That's for the introductory class. For the master's class, that will be $500. Now, it will take a period of 2 months. In 2 months, you'll be getting about 200,000. I think 200,000 in 2 months is not reasonable. I think it's reasonable. So it's as simple as that. Let the responsibility of teaching them what they should know be my own. Let the responsibility of coming back to you to buy TBC be their own responsibility. By the time I've worked on them to a reasonable extent, they will come back to you to purchase TBC. It's as simple as that. Okay? I think I'll stop here. Let's quickly go to the house, to the class, and then round off. All right, I've stopped. So I hope we're able to get something. If we're able to get something, please go back to the WhatsApp group and then respond. I think we're through for today's class. Let's go to the WhatsApp group and then round off. I'm supposed to have my master's class in the next 30 minutes. It's almost time. So let's be